the 260,974 British men and women who signed the petition to make this debate possible, and I want to welcome these brave survivors who are sitting behind us in the hall. This debate is about them. As you quite rightly say, it's not about politics. I want the world to hear what we heard during the 2 weeks of our independent rape gang inquiry hearings, an inquiry that should never have needed to happen. I sincerely urge this Parliament to listen to the testimonies from these brave survivors and to act, to finally act. So the first testimony: he took his pants down, penetrated me, had sex with me. He then stopped before ejaculation. He picked up the bottle of Jack Daniels, which was now empty, and he forced it up inside me. He broke the glass while he was there. At that point, I was about 12, nearly 13. Another testimony: I was held down by the men as they each took turns to orally and vaginally rape me, taking it in turns to pin down my arms and my legs. When the assault ended, the men hit me repeatedly, threatened to find me, kill me, and harmed my loved ones if I ever told anybody what had happened. Another: comments were constantly made suggesting that white girls, the Christian girls, were viewed as having fewer morals or lower values, whereas Muslim girls were described by some of the men as having dignity and higher moral standing. These comparisons were used to justify the way I was treated and to further humiliate and control me. Another: she was a white woman herself, who I imagine may have been groomed, and has obviously now married into the family, shouting obscenities at us. Throughout the whole sentencing, she was constantly saying, "Fucking liars, lying white bitches." She said to me that God will be the witness for what happens to me. Another: race did play a part and motivated the selection or demographic of the victims. Throughout my exploitation, the other girls I encountered or who were abused alongside me were almost exclusively white. Another: she had a baby by him, and his dad was an imam. His dad knew, and he got his son married and said that he wasn't allowed to see the child. They look after their own community. Another: over the course of the abuse, I was raped by multiple police officers in different parts of the country. Another: he put a cigarette out on the baby's face. Another: it started when I was 13. I was raped by probably about 600 or 700 different men over 3 years. Another: they would toot the horn of the car, and then a child would be taken to the front door by a staff member of the children's home. Another: I was bleeding from both my vagina and my back passage and was so swollen I could not sit down. I told hospital staff my drink had been spiked and I did not know what had happened because I was too afraid to tell the truth. They did not ask any questions. They gave me tablets and discharged me. I was 15 years old. Another: things would escalate around Eid and holidays. Parties got bigger, got worse, got more violent. More people involved, more girls involved. The parties were just bigger. Another: the main clash that I kind of had with the religion side of it was I grew up as a Christian. I would wear my cross because it was something really special to me. It was just used as a way to break me down. They said, "Where is your God now? Has your God forsaken you?" Another: it was all of the white girls in every home that I went to. I remember a man opening the back of a van and I saw 15, 20 girls locked in dog cages. Another: dogs were brought in and I couldn't move at all. I had nowhere to move. I think that was the scariest thing, was not having any concept of it. There were men around me, not horrified, not disgusted, not helping, but filming and laughing, making bets on whether the dog could could actually rape me or not. And yes, I was raped by a dog. The man just held my face, stared me down straight in the eyes, and he wanted to see me break, and he did. Another, I just want it to stop and not happen to any other children, and for people to actually act, to do something and stop being so scared. I could continue for hours and hours. All of us in this building have a responsibility to finally act. Not to talk, but to act. Our Rape Gang Inquiry report will be released in the coming days. It will change Britain for good. Thank you.
Rupert Lowe's speech left Parliament in a heavy silence as he read out the heartbreaking testimonies of survivors from the Rape Gang Inquiry. Lowe made it clear that this was not the time for political games, excuses, or avoidance. It was the time for Parliament to listen to the survivors and finally act. These testimonies expose not only horrific abuse, but also the failure of a system that ignored, dismissed, and abandoned vulnerable children for years. But right after that shocking moment, another scene inside Parliament sparked outrage. MP Ayub Khan came under heavy criticism after using his speaking time to reject the idea that ethnicity or religion played any role in the crimes, arguing that the issue should not be linked to any specific community. To many critics, that moment appeared to shift attention away from the victims and the evidence that had just been presented. So what exactly did Ayub Khan say in Parliament, and why did his remarks cause such anger? Let's watch the video below.
Ayub Khan.
Thank you, Chair. I want to begin where every debate on this subject must begin, with the victims and survivors of child sexual abuse, like some of the brave women that are here sat in this hall. There are few crimes more devastating, and there are few duties more important for this House than ensuring that every perpetrator is identified, convicted, and punished with the full force of the law. So let me be clear at the outset. I support the proper collection and publication of data that helps us understand patterns of offending, close gaps in safeguarding, improve prosecution, and protect children. As a barrister, I believe in evidence. I believe in facts. I believe that the criminal justice system must follow the evidence, wherever it leads, regardless of whether those facts are convenient or uncomfortable. But I also believe we must be honest about what some people are doing with this issue. Because there is a difference between using data to protect children and using children as a shield for prejudice. There is a difference between seeking transparency and seeking a radicalized political weapon. And I'm afraid that around this petition, around this wider debate, there are some voices who appear far less interested in victims than they are in validating their own hatred of ethnic minorities, Muslims, migrants, and foreign nationals. That is not safeguarding. That is not justice. That is exploitation of another kind. We have to be incredibly careful here, because the facts simply do not support the narrative that some would like to peddle. The data currently collected by the police is undoubtedly incomplete, and I welcome serious efforts to rectify that. But it's simply not true to suggest that we are operating in a complete evidential vacuum. The Ministry of Justice already records ethnicity and nationality data for those convicted and held within the prison estate. And while more up-to-date figures would of course be welcome, the available data show that as of 2020, more than 88% of prisoners serving sentences for sexual offences with an associated child sexual abuse offence were white. Fewer than 6% were Asian, and fewer than 0.5% had no stated ethnicity. That is a relatively complete data set, and on those figures, white men are significantly represented. Yet no serious person in this House would argue that white people are inherently more likely to commit child sexual abuse because of their ethnicity, culture, or background. And rightly so, because it would be obscene policy and an obscene politics to draw sweeping conclusions about communities of millions from the crimes around 16,000 of the most depraved individuals in our society. So when people insist on doing exactly that to Pakistani, Muslim, Asian or migrant communities, they are not following the evidence. They are revealing a prejudice. They are not interested in protecting children. They're interested in blaming communities. That does not mean we ignore cases involving Asian men, Muslims, foreign nationals, or anyone else. It means the opposite. It means we investigate all of it. It means we prosecute all of it. It means we do not allow any community to hide behind discomfort, political embarrassment, or fear of reputational damage. But it also means we reject the grotesque idea that rape, abuse, or groomings are the product of select or even inferior ethnicities, religions, or nationalities. These are crimes committed by human beings. They are rooted in power, misogyny, coercion, and the exploitation of vulnerability. They are not committed by just Muslims, migrants, and minorities. Far from it. And if we are going to talk about consistency, well, let's talk about consistency. When John Ashby raped a Sikh woman in Warsaw, he did so while directing Islamophobic abuse at her because he believed she was Muslim. That was not incidental. It was part of the terror inflicted on the victim. Yet many of the very people who are usually desperate to talk about ethnicity and religion suddenly changed their view. They said rape is rape. They criticized media outlets for making it about religion. Suddenly the victim's identity and the hate-driven nature of the attack was cleansed and downplayed. But when the perpetrator is Asian, Muslim, or foreign, those same people insist that identity is everything. That is not a concern for victims. That is selective outrage. When the victim is from a minority community, they tell us not to mention her race or religion. When the perpetrator is from a minority community, they tell us his race or religion explains the crime. That's double standard should shame anyone who claims to care about justice. And I say this plainly. Celebrating or minimizing the rape of women because she's Sikh or because she's presumed to be a Muslim is vile. Denying religiously or racially aggravated nature of such a crime is vile. It is not British. It is not patriotic. And it's not about protecting women and girls. I support better data collection. But unlike some, I do so because I'm consistent and because facts matter. I support it because bad data creates a vacuum, and that vacuum is either filled by denial or by hatred, and we should not tolerate either. The government must ensure that ethnicity and nationality data is collected accurately, consistently, and nationally. It must ensure that safeguarding agencies share intelligence properly. It must ensure that victims and survivors are believed, supported, and protected. It must ensure that local authorities, police forces, schools, health services, and prosecutors cannot fail children because they are afraid of asking difficult questions. The victims of child sexual abuse deserve better than to be turned into ammunition in a culture war. They deserve justice, and above all, they deserve honesty. They deserve a system that is brave enough to collect the facts and decent enough not to twist those facts into bigotry. So let us have transparency, let us collect the data, and let us publish what can properly and safely be published. But we must do it for the right reason, to support survivors and to bring offenders to justice. Not to feed hatred or attribute these crimes to certain communities. This is a problem that everyone in our society shares and a problem that we all bear. It belongs to all of us to prevent it, and it belongs to members to confront it with facts, consistency, and compassion. Thank you, Chair.
We really just want to say thanks for watching. If you found this video interesting, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss our latest updates. We also want to hear from you. Leave your thoughts in the comments below and tell us what you think about this story. Your opinion matters, and the conversation continues there. And don't forget to join our free Telegram group through the link below in the description, where we can discuss important issues more openly, share updates, and support each other as a community. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.